Thank you. So, a very good morning to everyone present here.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. We
Hey,
will.
ma'am.
Good morning, beta. So, we will start with the in continuation with the yesterday's class. That is a principle of maximum social advantage, and the principle in brief we try to discuss that there are two areas which we will be studying in the state activities, state financial activities. One was the public revenue and the other was the public expenditure, right? Is it visible? My board is visible to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
No, ma'am.
No. Just see now.
Yes, it is visible.
Yeah.
Ma'am, it is visible now.
So this is public revenue and this is public expenditure. We try to explain that public revenue का major source इसमें जो हम assume कर रहे थे वो क्या था? Taxation. And public expenditure is the other part of the economic activity which the state is doing. Now we came to the conclusion in the yesterday's discussion that the best principle is that where the state is putting the tax to the minimum. That means least taxation should be imposed. Why? Because the taxation creates burden on the economy or on the people of the country, and that is why that government is called good, who is going to put in the minimum tax, and in that revenue generated through tax the government is able to meet the social welfare needs of the people, right? And this taxation was subject to which law? We discussed that also. Law of increasing marginal social cost. Law of increasing marginal social cost or disutility. ये हमने कल लिखा था. Remember that? Disutility, that is burden, that is cost. So taxation is subject to the law of increasing marginal social disutility or cost. On the other hand, public expenditure is the other area of financial activities. Now public expenditure, as the state increases more and more amount of expenditure on the people, it is subject to the law of diminishing marginal social utility. तो ये दोनों का डिफरेंस याद रखिएगा. सोशल यूटिलिटी, जैसे हमने लॉ ऑफ डिमिनिशिंग मार्जिनल यूटिलिटी फर्स्ट ईयर में पढ़ा था. नाउ द सेम लॉ विल अप्लाई बट इन टर्म्स ऑफ द स्टेट और द गवर्नमेंट. So when the government is increasing the units of expenditure, it is subject to the law of diminishing marginal social disutility, right? So there is one point where the marginal social, there is one point where the marginal social benefit is equal to marginal social disutility, MSD. MSD is marginal social disutility. So we need to see this, that where is that point where both of them becomes equal. That is, a marginal social benefit is equal to the marginal social disutility or cost. Now marginal social benefit is obtained by the more and more amounts of public expenditure. On the other hand, marginal social cost is obtained or borne by the people in terms of more and more amounts of taxation. There will be a point where they both becomes equal, and this is the point of maximum social advantage. Now we will draw this diagram which I sent you on the group also. If you have seen this, you can draw it also. This is like this. This is one curve which you can see, which is BB dash, which shows the benefit. this is called benefit curve. That means the benefits received by the people from the public expenditure done by the government. And this is your x-axis, OX. Below this, that means in the negative quadrant, when you draw the curve, this is DD dash. DD dash is what? Negative quadrant shows the disutility. Disutility or the cost. That is why it is below the x-axis if you pay attention to this. So BB dash shows the benefits from the public expenditure. DD dash shows the disutility or cost borne by the people through the additional units of taxation levied by the state. Now in between, that means the difference between BB dash and DD dash shows what? This NN dash, this curve, this line, straight line, which shows the gap between the benefits and the disutility. And there is a point, say this point you can label as say M. So this gap is equal to this gap. This you can label as O and this N. So in this case, OM is equal to MN. That means the vertical distance between OM and MN is equal. What does it show? Can any one of you tell me what does it show when we are trying to show that OM is equal to MN?
Ma'am, that marginal social cost and marginal social benefit are equal.
That's very good. So it's true that the vertical distances are equal at this point when the state is doing OM amount of x axis पे आप दिखा क्या रहे हो? Units of taxation and public expenditure both. So OM is the amount of taxation also, and OM is the amount of public expenditure also. And this is the point where they both become equal, and that is why this is where the principle of maximum social advantage applies, or where the social advantage is maximum and the state should stop its financial activities. Now before this, if the state stops, I have already sent you the notes on the group. If you read it, you will automatically be able to understand what I am trying to say. Before OM amount, if the state stops its financial activities, then what is going to happen? Suppose, for example, we drop a perpendicular like this. Now say it is M dash. What does it show? That this vertical gap is more than this. Is it clear? That means the benefit received from expenditure is more than the disutility created through taxes. And that is why the state will be encouraged to impose more taxation and increase more expenditure. The state will not stop here. It's not advisable for the state to stop here, because it is not going to give the optimum, maximum social advantage. So this M dash is not proving the maximum social advantage, and that is why the state will decide to increase its financial operations till M point. And beyond that, अगर M के बाद आप जाए और आप फिर से एक perpendicular drop करिए. Now you can easily see, suppose this is M double dash. What does it show? That the benefits are less here, this much, and the disutility is more. So that means the society will be having more burden through taxes, and it's not advisable then to stretch beyond M point. So the conclusion is that M is the point where OM is equal to MN, or this is the point where the social benefit is equal to social cost. And so the state should stop its financial activities at this point.
Ma'am, before that point, when social benefit is more and this sacrifice is less, then it is like it is okay for the public
is
that
okay,
they are
but
receiving more benefit.
yeah, but then the society will forego possible gain, because इसके beyond भी आपका benefit बढ़ रहा है. So what is the assumption here is that the state is a rational state. जैसे कंज्यूमर के केस में हम एज्यूम करते थे कि कंज्यूमर रैशनल है. रैशनल मीन्स ही विल ऑलवेज ट्राई टू put in those combinations of consumption where his satisfaction is maximum. So the state can stop here also, no doubt about it, m dash. But then the state will be, if the state stops at this point, the society will forego the possible gains which the society can experience by increasing the state financial activities. And that is why state decides to increase its amount of taxation and public expenditure. But it goes on doing it till m point, because this is the point जहाँ पे ये दोनों बराबर हो जाते हैं. इसके पहले benefits are more than the cost, but then the state will be encouraged to increase its financial operations till m point.
Yes.
So m is the maximum social advantage point. That's what you want to say.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you can write here concluding the line, because else I have given you the notes, so you can see that. If you are not able to understand anything, we can discuss in next class. If the state stops its public finance operations, if the state stops its public finance operations at a level below OM, at a level below OM, the society foregoes, that means sacrifices, the society foregoes a possible gain and if the operations are expanded beyond OM.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah, tell me.
Ma'am, please repeat from finance operation at a level before AM.
Below OM. This is O is the origin. OM. If the state stops its public finance operations at a level below OM, the society foregoes, FOREGOES, foregoes or sacrifices a possible gain. A possible gain. If the operations are expanded beyond OM, that is beyond this M point, the net benefit again starts falling. So we can conclude that when an amount OM is taxed and spent by the state, Then the marginal social benefit.
Ma'am, please repeat after so we can conclude.
So we can conclude that when an amount OM is taxed and spent by the state, then the marginal social benefit and the marginal social disutility are equated. कौन है? नहीं अभी नहीं. Marginal social benefit and the marginal social disutility are equated. Till then means till OM. The gain in the society, the gain to the society is more than the loss. The gain to the society is more than the loss. But at the point OM, the state should stop its financial activities. So that is how we depict the explanation of the diagram and showing the principle of maximum social advantage. Now the last part is limitations. There are certain assumptions on the basis of which we draw this diagram and did the analysis of the principle. So now we come to the limitations of this principle. You can write it in points. Isha has put in the attendance sheet. You can mark your attendance. The first limitation is that the principle assumes that the state is something external to the economy. The principle wrongly assumes that the state is something external to the economy, which is not true.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Hmm?
Ma'am, please repeat. Your voice just break.
The principle wrongly assumes that the state is something external to the economy, which is not true. Second limitation, the principle can be refuted on the ground that the state is a superimposed entity upon the economy, that the state is a superimposed entity upon the economy. The principle can be refuted on the ground that the state is a superimposed entity upon the economy so long as it is essential to have certain basic functions so long as it is essential to have certain basic functions like that of protecting the state or society, like that of protecting the society both from internal disaster and external aggression. Internal disaster and external aggression it follows that the benefits provided by the state are always more than the cost of its own maintenance. The cost of its own maintenance. So I hope you have understood this limitation, that we are assuming it that the state is a superimposed entity upon the economy. We are assuming it. But as soon as we relax this assumption, we have always this kind of logic that the performance of the state, the functions of the state which is done by the government, is very much essential for the society and the economy. And so long as the state is performing those basic functions like protecting the society from external aggression or internal disasters, right? So always the benefits which we get from the performance of these kinds of financial operations are more than the cost of maintaining the state. कल हमने बहुत सारा डिस्कशन किया था इस बात पे कि जो डिफरेंट इकोनॉमिस्ट थे उन्होंने अपने अपने परसेप्शन दिए हैं अबाउट द एंटिटी ऑफ स्टेट. लाइक एडम स्मिथ ने कहा कि नहीं, स्टेट की ज़रूरत ही नहीं है, क्योंकि जैसे ही आप स्टेट का एजम्पशन करते हो यू नीड टू मेंटेन इट. बट so long as the state is essential for the basic survival and functioning of the society and the economy, that means we are accepting the fact that the state is essential, the government is essential, the existence of the government is necessary, because lot of people are not able to afford each and everything for their benefit from the market price, as we discussed. So we are just going to revise it in this limitation, that if we accept this fact that the existence of state and the government is essential for the basic survival of the people, then in that case automatically the benefits which we get from the activities of the state will always be more than the cost of maintaining it. So this assumption can again be criticized. So that is also a limitation. Then the third limitation, we talked about Dalton also yesterday, DALTON. डाल्टन की भी एक बुक है पब्लिक फाइनेंस में. So as Dalton points out, there is no basis for generalization. There is no basis for generalization that every tax is a burden upon the society and every public expenditure is a benefit. There is no basis for generalization that every tax is a burden upon the society and every expenditure is a benefit. For example, we talked about the tax on narcotics and drugs, for example. Now, the tax on narcotics and drugs will not be a burden, but it will be a beneficial thing for the society. Why? Tell me.
Ma'am, if the taxes will be more, then people will buy them less because the
So
prices will be
automatically,
high.
right. We discussed it yesterday that if the taxes will be more on narcotics and drugs, automatically the people will be discouraged to buy it and consume it more, and then in that way the social and economic welfare of the society will increase. So you cannot make a generalized assumption that every tax is a burden. Like this is an example which shows that this tax is not a burden, but this tax is beneficial for the society. And on the other hand, if we put a tax on, say, education, health, sanitation, then automatically it's a burden. But it depends upon case to case, it depends upon items to items on which the taxation is imposed. So this is a limitation again, that Dalton said that this it is, you cannot generalize the assumption that every tax is a burden and every expenditure is beneficial for the society. Similarly, अगर हम पब्लिक एक्सपेंडिचर की बात करें, now public expenditure on every head is not beneficial. For example, if we say the public expenditure on social and economic overheads, it is going to give the benefit to the society. So this kind of expenditure is good. But on the other hand, if you say that the expenditure is done on certain rallies, like the rallies by the political parties, now that kind of expenditure is not good. It is not beneficial to the society or the economy in a way, because it is just spent on unproductive kind of expenditure. So you have to give some example and explain this limitation which you are writing, that all the expenditures are not productive and similarly all the taxes do not create burden. There is no basis for generalizing this assumption. ठीक है? Next limitation, we have, during the explanation of the principle, made this assumption that the revenue consists of only taxes. That the revenue of the government consists of only taxes. But there are other non-tax revenue sources also. There are non-tax revenue sources also, like fines, fees, public sector undertaking benefits, provident funds, social security benefit measures, they are all called non-tax revenue sources. So you cannot consider them unimportant. So that also becomes a limitation, because we have assumed that only the tax revenue sources are important in the discussion of this principle, but we have ignored the fact that there are non-tax revenue sources also, which are also as important as the tax revenue sources for the state, and some more. So I have already sent you the notes, you can read out the limitations there, and then you can conclude the principle, which we will complete today in this class. Conclusion may you highlight its importance and like summing up the whole principle. So you can say that this principle is important because it gives you a glimpse of the state activities, what the state is performing in terms of taxation and expenditure. And every government, while deciding on its budget, looks at both the aspects. One side is revenue and the other side is expenditure. And this principle tells the government to find out the optimum level of state activities, optimum level of financial activities, where the government should stop. And that point is explained by the principle, that that point is achieved at a point where the marginal social benefit is equal to marginal social cost. So this is the second topic of unit 1. If you see, if you just go through it, if you have anything which you want to ask, please do that.
Ma'am, this principle tells optimum level of
State activities, optimum level of financial activities.
okay, ma'am.
There are two sides of financial activities which we are discussing since yesterday, that is public revenue and public expenditure. So this principle tells you the optimum point where the government should stop imposing taxation, which is one of the important source of public revenue, and the government should stop doing expenditures, which is another part of the financial activities. Now, can anyone tell me from the syllabus? I'm looking at the syllabus. The unit 1 has next chapter. Which next chapter? There is so many messages here. See in your syllabus. I got it.
Ma'am, unit 2 is sources of revenue.
No, unit 1 is finished now.
Ma'am, no, ma'am. Role of state in public finance. You have
Role of state.
covered it.
So this is just a basic idea which we have already discussed. Like there is no long question which can be asked here on this topic. So that way we have finished our unit 1, right? So
Yes, ma'am.
now we come to the unit 2, which is sources of revenue, where we talk about taxes in detail, and the other part is loans, grants in aid, canons, taxation. ये जो है इसको इस तरह से सीरियलाइज करिएगा. जब हम टैक्सेशन करेंगे तो टैक्सेस की डेफिनेशन क्या है, व्हाट इज़ अ टैक्स, उसका डेफिनेशन पढ़ेंगे. देन व्हाट आर द डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ टैक्सेस, थोड़ा सा वो देखेंगे इन ब्रीफ. उसके बाद we will talk about the canons of taxation given by Adam Smith, which is very popular. Then the principles of taxation, that when the government imposes the taxes, then what kind of principles are there which the government has to keep in mind. Then the impact of incidence of taxation, which is another long question. Incidence, impact and shifting of taxation, ये आपका पूरा एक क्वेश्चन आता है. देन द इंडियन टैक्स सिस्टम जो है कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स, उसको हम लास्ट यूनिट में कंपाइल करेंगे, क्योंकि इंडियन पब्लिक फाइनेंस हम यूनिट 4 में पढ़ रहे हैं. ठीक है, सो दिस इज़ अ सीक्वेंस विच वी विल फॉलो. And then we will come to the non-tax revenue resources also in brief in unit 2, where we talk about the loans and grants in aid and fines and fees and treasury bills. What are the other types of non-tax revenue resources? Tax पे ज़्यादातर एक long question आता है, which so that is why taxes you must do in thoroughly and in detail. Non-tax revenue resources पे short notes या for your competitive exams it is essential, so that is why we will do it in short. So we'll start with this taxes on the next turn, that is on Monday.
Ma'am, there is one more topic, problem of justice in taxes.
For there we that is all taxes. Taxes में we have two more principles which we have to cover. That is the problem of division of tax burden या justice जो आप बात कह रहे हो. इसमें दो टॉपिक आते हैं, दो प्रिंसिपल्स हैं जो कि हमें करने होते हैं. Benefits received approach and ability to pay. So as soon as we will be doing it, I will be telling you from there. So taxes में ही ये सारे टॉपिक्स आ जाएंगे. You can just write it somewhere, क्योंकि ये जो सिलेबस बनाते हैं इसमें थोड़ा वेगली लिखते हैं, बहुत क्लियरली नहीं होता. यूनिट 2 में पहले हम करेंगे डेफिनेशन ऑफ टैक्स एंड द डिफरेंस बिटवीन टैक्स एंड प्राइस. समटाइम्स शॉर्ट नोट में पूछ लेते हैं. Then we come to the canons and principles of taxation. Then we come to the problem of division of tax burden, कि कैसे हम टैक्स बर्डन को इक्विटेबल तरीके से सोसाइटी में डिवाइड करें, ताकि जो डिवीज़न ऑफ टैक्स बर्डन है वो जस्टिफिएबल हो, जिसमें हमारे पास दो टॉपिक्स होंगे जो हमें करने होंगे. बेनिफिट्स रिसीव्ड अप्रोच एंड द अदर इज एबिलिटी टू पे प्रिंसिपल. These two principles we will do and cover in the problem of division of tax burden. Then we come to another topic related to tax only, impact. ये भी terms हैं, incidence and shifting of tax. ये एक complete topic है जो कि tax से ही related है, which we need to do. Impact, incidence and shifting of tax. Then we come to the effects of taxation. Effects of tax on various areas of economy, जो कि like economic growth, economic stability, ये सब हम पढ़ेंगे इसमें. इतना जब आप करेंगे तो आपका टैक्सेशन का पार्ट कंप्लीट होता है. इसके बाद हम ब्रीफली आएंगे नॉन टैक्स रेवेन्यू रिसोर्सेज. ये आपका इलेबोरेशन है फॉर द यूनिट 2. ओके, एंड देन द लास्ट टॉपिक इज कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स ऑफ इंडियन टैक्स सिस्टम, जिसको कि वी विल कवर अप इन यूनिट 4, जहाँ पे पब्लिक फाइनेंस इन इंडिया दिया हुआ है कि इंडिया में गवर्नमेंट कौन से टैक्सेस लगाती है, किस तरह से कौन सा टैक्सेशन सिस्टम अप्लाई होता है. थोड़ा सा तो हम यहाँ पे जब टैक्सेशन के टाइप्स पढ़ेंगे यहाँ पे, तो हम बता भी देंगे आपको कि इंडियन टैक्सेशन सिस्टम कितनी तरह के हैं और कैसे क्या कौन सा टैक्सेशन सिस्टम हम एडॉप्ट करते हैं. जैसे प्रोग्रेसिव, रिग्रेसिव, डिग्रेसिव, ये सब टैक्सेशन सिस्टम्स के टाइप्स हैं. सो this is how we will be continuing with unit 2. Is it clear now?
मैम मैम आपने प्रॉब्लम ऑफ जस्टिस इन टैक्सेस में जो 2 प्रिंसिपल्स बताए थे वो कौन से थे?
ये लिखे हैं बेटा,
Both.
बेनिफिट्स
हाँ,
रिसीव्ड अप्रोच एंड द एबिलिटी टू पे.
Yes ma'am, yes ma'am. Thank you ma'am.
Books are there, like H.L. Bhatia Public Finance you can buy, which is an Indian author book, H.L. Bhatia. And then there is another book by B.P. Tyagi, T.N. Hajela. पहले ये और इंटरनेशनल ट्रेड क्लब होता था, मतलब पब्लिक फाइनेंस एंड इंटरनेशनल ट्रेड, बट नाउ ड्यू टू सेमेस्टर सिस्टम दे हैव like segregated. So in this semester you will be studying about public finance, and in the next semester of BA2 you will be studying about the international trade. So that is why sometimes you will see in the market that there are some books which are titled in both the topics, like public finance and international trade. So you can buy that also, plus you can buy separate books also, like H.L. Bhatia has just written about public finance. Then you must have purchased KK Dewitt in your first year, BA1 microeconomics,
Yes
or
ma'am.
है ना. So there also you will find some topics of Indian public finance, because and Rudradatt and Sundaram in Indian economy you must have got, or A.N. Agarwal, है ना. So Indian economy की books में आपको Indian public finance मिल जाएगा. So try to search the topics there also, and make your notes, and then whatever assignment I'll give you, you have to finish. Now we have completed today principle of maximum social advantage. So I will be giving an assignment. Please write the question which you have to do and send it on my mail, right? The question is, the social advantage is maximum at a point. Please write. The social advantage is maximum at a point where the net benefits are zero. Where the net benefits are zero. ये विद इन कोट्स लिखिएगा ये स्टेटमेंट. Elaborate and discuss. So in a way you have to write about the principle of maximum social advantage in detail, copying this statement and explaining it. So all of you, please do your assignment. Put the assignment number 1 and put it the date of today. Srishti, are you there? Srishti?
Yes ma'am.
Can we take the assignments on Google also? Like this Google पे कुछ Gmail पे ही लेना पड़ेगा ना, क्योंकि क्लासरूम तो है नहीं. हाँ, तो Gmail ID इनको हमारी वाली दे देना प्लीज, सृष्टि ग्रुप पे.
ओके मैम.
यू हैव दैट
मैम,
ID ना? हाँ, मेरी वाली
आपकी बात ठीक है मैम.
है ना.
ओके मैम.
Gmail वाली देना, या मैं अभी बता दूंगी बाद में, तब देना.
Okay, ma'am, I'll send it in the group.
So all of you have to complete your assignment so that you have the time of tomorrow, Sunday. Write this so that it is finished. You, and then I can give you the comments so that you are finally, you know, have that topic with you written में. और मैंने matter already आपको PDF भेज दिया है जो book से, क्योंकि books many of you might not be able to purchase it just now, going to the market and buying it. So you can order online also if you want. Plus we have got the notes, so you can compile it and write the answer, because writing also becomes important. Sometimes you have understood everything, but when you write, the expression is not there, and that is why you get lesser marks. So you have to show me the answers. That's very important. So should I finish? Should I close the meeting now?
Yes ma'am.
Yes.
Sunidhi is saying